Since the weekend has passed, and some of you probably already seen the movie, we thought it would be a good idea to do a spoiler review on Birds of Prey. I'm Ahsoka here for Geek Up or Shut Up, and today we're diving further into Birds of Prey. So, I'm gonna be dividing this review in two parts. First I'm gonna be talking about what I really liked about this movie, and then I'm gonna be talking about the stuff that I had some issues with. Harley Quinn. Oh my god, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn was really amazing. Just fucking brilliant. I thought that all of her costumes were really good, and she does change costumes a lot, which is kind of a little joke in the movie. And I thought it was fun. And honestly, all of her costumes look amazing, and she just looks gorgeous in all of them. I thought that the bit where she psychoanalyzes everyone around her was brilliant, because, you know, we know that Harley Quinn was a psychiatrist, and this movie does bring it up a lot, and I thought that was fun. Something else that this movie shows us about her background is her gymnastics background. And we can see that in every fight scene that she has, because she's just so freaking nimble. And her fight scenes are actually pretty cool. One of my favorite ones was in the police raid, where she just throws a bat and then it hits the other guy's face. I thought it was hilarious. Every time she fights someone, she just like goes all Black Widow on their asses and just like goes around them and does her thing. I thought it was brilliant. Something else that I really loved about Harley Quinn in this movie is how she just interacts with other characters, especially Black Canary and Huntress. While I'm talking about MVPs of this movie, I really want to talk about Ewan McGregor's performance. I just thought it was brilliant, because like when he was creepy and terrifying, you could actually feel it. And when he was funny, it was hilarious. And just his whole character, you could really see that he brought his A game into it, and it just was a really brilliant performance. I went to this movie thinking that maybe the actress that was playing Huntress was just cast because she was Ewan McGregor's girlfriend, but then when I actually saw her in the movie, she was just brilliant, and I actually wanted to see more of her, and I just loved how she just became Huntress, and her whole character was just amazing, and I really enjoyed her. And then another character that I really freaking loved was Black Canary. I want to mention the scene that was my favorite scene with Black Canary, was that scene with Harley. Harley got roofied by some guy, and then she gets dragged and is about to get put in the van. And then you see Black Canary, she's in her car, and she's trying to decide whether or not she should do something about it. And I really felt that scene. I was like literally on the edge of my seat in the movie theater, because I was wondering, is she gonna do something? Is she just gonna go away? What is happening? And that scene felt really realistic. It felt like something that if women were put in that place, they would be going through the same mindset as Black Canary was. Also, I would like to mention that in that scene, it was the best action scene of the whole movie, and it was with Black Canary. We got a glimpse of it in the trailer, and I was a little bit worried, but then I actually saw it, and it was amazing. It was really fun. And speaking of fun, this movie can actually be quite funny, especially the beginning when Harley is just bringing us up to speed and everything about it, and it just has some really fun stuff. And throughout the movie you also see some funny bits, especially like I really like this scene when they're fighting in the third act. Black Canary is like, oh, can you hand me like an elastic to put on my hair, because it's like all over my face and I'm fighting and I kind of need to see. And Harley's like, oh, here you go. Like I thought that was funny, and also very realistic, because it kind of always bugged me with female superheroes that have long hair. Like, how do you do that when you're fighting? Because don't you just like, doesn't your hair go all over your face if you're moving a lot? I guess this movie did address it, which was nice, I guess. And finally, on the good section, just the police raid. I freaking love the police raid. All of the scenes. It was just so good when Harley was fighting the bad guys, when Harley was fighting the cops. It was just brilliant. And then, like, this movie has some really good visuals, but my favorite one, my favorite shot, is when Harley is in the police raid and then she just comes out of the smoke, and that scene was brilliant. You can actually see it on the trailer, and in the movie it just looks even better. So now we need to address the stuff that I had some issues with. So Renee Montoya, like, if you're a comic book fan, you know that she's up there with James Gordon as a police officer, and she's very respected in the police community. But here in this movie, everyone in the station seems to hate her for whatever reason. And she's struggling with alcoholism, maybe. I didn't really understood that. And she's not even that good of a fighter per se, so I was just kind of struggling to see what she brought to the table. I also had an issue with the fact that we only realize that she's gay because when Harley is voicing over the movie, she tells us, hey, this is her ex, who is a woman. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is all we're addressing about Renee Montoya being a lesbian. Overall, the biggest issue that I had with Renee Montoya was the fact that she just took way too much valuable time that could be given to other characters. And speaking of characters that I had some issues with, Cassandra Cain. Like, I went to this movie knowing that it would be nothing like the comics. So I went knowing that this Cassandra Cain would not be the badass that Cassandra Cain is in the comics. And I was a little upset about it, but then I just went in and I was like, okay, let's just watch this movie for what it is. But then I did, and I just felt like overall I just didn't like Cassandra Cain. I just felt like maybe she was a little bit too annoying. And she was just put there to move the plot forward and to bring the characters together and to make them look a little bit better for protecting a kid. As much as I really enjoyed Ewan McGregor's performance as Black Mask, and I did, like, a lot, it was brilliant, I would just like to point out that Ewan McGregor could have portrayed any other mobster guy that was evil, because this wasn't Black Mask at all. This was just an evil guy that had a lot of money and power and was chasing after some chicks because he was misogynistic. You're calling him Black Mask, which is like a big villain, and then in the end you kill him, so he never shows up again, which to me is kind of a big waste because Ewan McGregor was freaking amazing in this role. He was really good. That being said, I did love how he just blew up. I thought it was hilarious. And also, why the hell is Victor Zsasz a woman killer? Victor Zsasz is supposed to be a killer who kills all kinds of people equally, not just women. But then we see this scene with Harley where he shows her all of his scars, and then he's like, I get one for each little birdie that I set free. And then it only hit me after I left the movie theater, and I was like, wait, does he mean women? Does he mean women when he says little birdie? And then I was like, what? So you get one scar for every time you kill a woman? That's... what? Now I must address the one thing that I didn't like about Harley Quinn in this movie, and it was the fact that they didn't know how to portray her sexuality. I think at this point everyone knows that Harley Quinn is bisexual and that she has a thing with Poison Ivy, and I think that they are a great couple together. I'm not blaming Margot Robbie because I know she fought her hardest to have Harley Quinn's bisexuality portrayed, and I really love that she did that, but seeing the final product, I'm wishing that we had seen better queer representation in this movie. Especially because there was a lot of characters that they could have gone with for queer representation. And finally, the last bad thing that I have to say about this movie was the fact that they didn't give enough screen time for Black Canary and Huntress. They were amazing characters, but they didn't have enough screen time to be developed or, to show up in Kick-Ass. Like, for example, with Huntress, like, I'm a fan of the comics, so I already knew her origin story, but people that didn't only got glimpses of it in this movie with Harley saying she was the daughter of a big important family, that everyone was shot down by this evil guy and she was the only survivor, and then one of the guys that was involved raised her as his own, and then she spent her whole life training and planning for revenge. Which I thought was amazing, and it was really cool, but I just wish we had seen more of it because it was so cool. And then with Black Canary, like, she was such a brilliant character and the actress did such an amazing job that I was really hoping we would see more of her and more of the Canary Cry, for example. Like, why did it even show up in the movie if it only showed up once and then she passed out? Like, if she had more screen time, then you could explain why she doesn't use the Canary Cry properly, and then it would make a little bit more sense to me. So those were my thoughts on this movie. As you guys can clearly tell, I had some issues with it, but I can honestly say that overall it was very enjoyable. It wasn't the perfect movie that I was hoping for, but I did love some parts of it, and the parts that I did love, they were really good. I really want to say that this movie belongs to Margot Robbie, and everything good that's in it, I think she deserves a shout out. Not only as the badass actress that she was, but also the producer. Also, I think Kathy Yan should get more recognition because this was her first big blockbuster movie, and I think she did an amazing job. I think that it's a good thing that we're getting more female directors, and honestly, I think this is a good step in that direction. These were my thoughts on the movie. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Stick around, and I'll see you next time.